just some premium storage out here on the Waycross Highway by Republic Services, and also brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. Well, Bob, us three made it in this morning. At least you don't have that far to go. You live right downtown. But I'm about 25, 30 minutes out in the country, and Jonathan's about 20 minutes out. So it's kind of bad out there this morning. And my advice to people, if you don't have to drive, don't get out there.
That's what everybody's advising. I mean, can't say it enough, but we just hope people heed the advice. But everything's just about closed in Wayne County, so all the government offices are closed, schools are closed, so not really much reason to get out if you don't have to.
Yeah, I was coming in on Highway 203. There were at least 5 emergency personnel vehicles. Many of them, I know at least 3 of the bridges, they were sitting there. It's a good place to sit because the bridges are icing over big time. First bridge that I went over on Kayville Road, it was, I'm glad I was going slow, let's just put it that way, because I could feel the vehicle start to my truck lose its grip a little bit. But the best thing to do is, if you have to get out in it, everybody that I was on Highway 203 was going about 35 miles an hour. When you get to a bridge, just let off on the gas and slowly go over it and wait till you to the other side of the bridge before you hit the gas, because I did that on one of the bridges. I was getting close to it, let off on the gas, went straight over it. Keep the foot off the brake. You don't want to hit the brake. Got over the other side, and my front wheels was off the bridge, but apparently I hit the gas before the rear wheels were off the bridge, and they spun big time. And they're probably getting things ready on Highway 203 to put dirt on those bridges out there. Is the reason why there's so many emergency personnel out on Highway 203 this morning, in all different type of vehicles out there, from Hummers to trucks to SUVs. There's a lot of them out there on Highway 203 this morning. And also, it's going to be a good day for wreckers. I saw some out there this morning. Folks are slipping, sliding, peeping, hiding, getting into the ditches and hitting things. Main thing to do is drive slow, drive straight, let off the gas on the bridges, slow down quite a bit when you go around curves. And if you do start sliding, the worst thing in the world that you can do is hit the brakes. Best thing to do is turn into where you're sliding from. So if you're going right, turn left. If you're sliding right and to the left, and turn right and try to straighten up. But the natural thing, Bob, for all of us to do is when we start sliding somewhere is to hit those brakes, and it's the worst thing you can do. You ought to know that. You're from Pittsburgh. But you didn't drive up in Pittsburgh, though.
No.
Yeah. Well, when I lived up in Aiken, South Carolina for 12 years, we had a lot of ice storms up there. And you just kind of learn a little bit what to do. I get here at the station this morning, and like you, I backed my vehicle in, and I took a picture of the side of my tire and sent it to my son, Matt. And the side of my tire has, and this is going in 35 to 40 miles an hour coming down Highway 84. There was ice, little pieces of ice stuck all to the side of the tire. All to the side of the tire, there was ice. I mean, so you're talking about water accumulating on a tire that's rotating at 35 to 40 miles an hour, and little pieces of ice are all stuck to it. The windshield was freezing up this morning coming in. I had to put a defrost on the windshield to keep the windshield warm enough where it didn't freeze over. And so, just stay home if you possibly can. We're supposed to get a high up to around 33 today. Right at freezing, a little bit above it. But this afternoon, they're really calling for some more precipitation, maybe even some snow, Bob, once it warms up a little bit. Just never came down.
A lot of people are hoping.
What's that?
So a lot of people are hoping for snow.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we get any.
Yeah. I remember that ice storm of 1989. I was actually in Aiken, South Carolina, driving down to Florida for, my dad had a place down in Astor, Florida, and we were supposed to drive down there for Christmas, and it started icing and snowing and all that kind of stuff. Probably about, I guess maybe an hour before I got to the interstate there at Hardyville. And I said, well, when I get to the interstate at Hardyville, with all those cars going in, I'll probably have the ice and snow, moved away. No. It was like one moving parking lot going around 20 miles an hour all the way from Hardyville. Ended up having to spend the night in Brunswick and then getting up the next morning and heading on down to Florida. Took Highway 17 then down to Astor. I didn't try to get back on the interstate with, thousands of other folks. But it was one of those unexpected storms. People didn't expect that. I would have definitely driven in it, but 89, that was a rough thing. We'll see what happens today out there. But folks, just please stay at home if you possibly can. Don't get out there unless you absolutely have to. And if you do, drive very slowly, very cautiously. No sudden movements, no sudden of hitting of the brakes. Slow down before you get to a stop sign or traffic light, way before it. And just think about what it feels like when you're on walking on ice with slick shoes. That's kind of how it is driving out there today. And just because you've got one of them four-wheel drive vehicles with those big old tires does not mean that you can't go sliding. So please be careful out there. All right, Bob, getting ready for the big game coming up here. Were you with a bunch of Buck folks watching the Georgia-Oklahoma game?
I had a nice party. It was fun.
I mean, 2 overtimes. What a game.
Exciting times.
Georgia down by 17 points and comes back. And, at that time, it's like, oh, well, But then the boys came back and did a great job. And now Kirby taking on his mentor up Mercedes-Benz Stadium this coming Monday night. 2 SEC teams. I know listening to the Dan Patrick show yesterday, they probably thought the television really wanted the Oklahoma Heisman Trophy winner team in Alabama, but the 2 best teams are there, Georgia and Alabama. Ought to be a great game. But the students of Nick Saban haven't had that much success against what you're saying this morning.
0 for 11.
Man, isn't that something? 0 for 11?
Average margin of victory, 30 points or more. So hasn't turned out too good for his pupils. So we'll see if Kirby can break the trend. But watching Alabama beat Clemson like they did, it's going to be interesting to see how Georgia's running game, if they can get any success against that Bama defense. So it should be an interesting contest. But interesting to hear that the relationship between Kirby and Saban's not as friendly and cozy as it was when he worked for him. So,
it's what happens when you start taking the athletes away and you have a better recruiting class.
Taking recruits away. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. Thought that they said, everybody who works for Saban always talks about how much knowledge they gain watching him because, he's by far the best coach in collegiate football. He's trying to break Bear Bryant's record for as many championships. That's why he's still in the game at this age. But he's already got 4 with Bama, 1 with LSU, looking for a 6th national championship. And
is that how many a Bear had, 6 or 7?
I'm not sure how many Bear had. I know the Bear still leads, but Saban's either close or tied with him or something like that. But anyway, they both have statues outside the stadium. When they got a statue outside the stadium for you, and not much more you can do. But it should be an interesting ball game. Like I said, I'm just concerned about if Georgia can't run the ball. Are they going to have much success against Alabama? Alabama's just on a mission. I said, you poked the bear. He told Alabama they didn't deserve to be in the championship. They didn't win the conference. They're 3rd in the SEC. And they had to hear all that talk. They finally get in, and like all the commentators talked about, following that team all the way up to the Clemson game, they didn't want to just beat Clemson. They wanted to whip Clemson and send a message. Well, they sent a pretty good message when they pretty much shut down Clemson, who had the best offense all season long, and the number 1 team in the country all year long.
I know. It wasn't moving them down the field.
Like I said, it wasn't just a beat. It was just they just didn't beat Clemson. They whipped Clemson and physically manhandled them, just totally dominated Clemson. So they're on a mission. Saban's on a mission. He wants to beat Kirby. So it's going to be an interesting ball game. The place is going to be right. I just can't believe the ticket prices are as high as they are. I mean, the cheapest tickets you can find is $2,000. So
I guess people want to be there for the experience. There's no way in the world that I'd pay that much money to go see a football game. I mean, no way.
It's just absurd.
It is absurd. Someone just texted, if you got any questions or comments at all, especially about the weather out there, what experiences you may be going through, what things you may be seeing this morning while you're out there on the roads, text that information in or question in or comment in at 912-427-3711, 912-427-3711. Our main business and studio line is text enabled, 912-427-3711. You can text in any questions or comments or information that people may need to know about what's going on out there, especially with the road conditions. Somebody wanted to know if the banks are open. You won't have to call them. That could be an individual call by each bank. I don't know. Wait until their opening hours and then give them a call and find out. Someone said Highway 84 between Wayne and Pierce line is open. Please slow down. And that's what I found out coming in on Highway 84. Once I got off Highway 203, where everybody was smart, going about 35 miles an hour, I get on Highway 84, and I'm going about 40, and people are just passing me like I'm sitting still. So, you know, you hit an icy spot. Next thing you know, you're doing the Watusi, man. Your vehicle's going all over the place. So please drive carefully. No sudden movements, no sudden hit on the brakes or anything like that. Just, you know, stay home if you possibly can. There was some traffic out there, but not a bunch. You don't have to have your flashers on. Everybody knows it's a hazardous condition out there. Flashing lights are supposed to be when you're in an emergency on the side of the road somewhere, so you don't have to have your flashers open. All right, it says BB&T opening at 9 a.m. So if you bank with BB&T, just got the word from Raymond there that BB&T will be opening at 9 a.m. So there's one bank that we know of that will be open today. BB&T opening at 9 a.m. And just don't know about the other banks. If they text in, that's fine. If not, you can just give them a call at 9 o'clock. All right, they said the Ludowici Bridge is closed. Now, are we talking about the Lee Park Bridge between Wayne County and Long County? Or there's a lot of bridges between Ludowici and the river. A lot of bridges. Matter of fact, I told one employee this morning, she said she was scared to drive in, and I knew how many bridges she had to cross to get from Ludowici to just to the Wayne County line. I said, hey, you know, don't worry about it because that's a lot of open bridge. If the person who texted in and said Ludowici Bridge is closed, are we talking about the Lee Park Bridge that goes over the Ottawa River from Wayne County to Long County, or are you talking about another bridge? So please let us know that. The person who texted that in, the Ludowici Bridge is closed. Somebody just texted in, Country Financial and the Long Agency are closed today. Country Financial and the Long Agency are closed today. And we also know the fact that from what you mentioned that all government offices are closed today. Do you think that the post office will be out there delivering mail today, Bob? Through rain, through sleet, through, you know, snow, we deliver for you?
They probably will.
I don't know if they will or not. I don't see how you can make someone go out there and drive unless they just had to. The bridge in Ludowici, the first one after Lee Park. All right, the first one after Lee Park, just outside of Ludowici. Okay, that's the bridge they're talking about that's closed right now. Probably putting sand on it, I imagine.
I said, DOT says they're out. I talked to Doug Lewis. He said the DOT's already out there. I said the spokeswoman from DOT, District Officer in Joseph, said the salt barns are full, so they are prepared for this weather. So that's the good news. So they're out doing everything they can to make sure those bridges are passable. But like Doug Lewis says, as soon as they put the salt down, then it freezes right back up.
It freezes right back up.
But they are out in full force with the salt, trying to make those as possible as they possibly can. So, like I said, the main thing they're telling everybody, if you don't have to get out in this weather, just don't get out. Just stay home.
Okay, somebody just texted in, wreck at Everett City. I don't know why we all call it Everett City. It's just Everett, but all of us call it Everett City. Everett, right down there, as you're heading toward, as you go across the Wayne County, Lynn County line, Everett, there's a wreck there, traffic backed up. Which direction, folks? So the person who texts that in, the wreck at Everett City, traffic backed up, is that going toward Brunswick or toward Jessup? Remember now, you can text in. You can't call them in because we're talking on the air, toward Brunswick. So if you're leaving Wayne County heading toward Brunswick, there's a wreck at Everett City there. There's a wreck there, and traffic is backed up. And so we hopefully everybody in that wreck is okay, and everything's fine. But traffic backed up there at Everett heading toward Brunswick on Highway 341. And now they just said that traffic is moving. They've opened it up and traffic is moving toward through Everett toward Brunswick. If you have any questions, comments, anything that you see out there on the roads, you can text us at 912-427-3711, 912-427-3711. You can text us on road conditions, on anything that you may see, wrecks, if you're a business that's going to be open or closed, or whatever. Just let us know. We'll pass the information along here on the world-famous Butch and Bob show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup. Well, Bob, the Jacksonville Jaguars get to host their first playoff game in a long time. I'm sure you'll be there, ready to watch them take on the Bills.
Yeah, I'm ready. It should be an exciting time in Jacksonville. It's been a long time since a home playoff game. 1999, Buffalo's excited to get in, so see how it all shakes out. But I think the Jaguar defense should be able to handle Mr. Tyrod Taylor and the Buffalo Bills offense. So I look for Jacksonville to move on to the second round easily. I think it's going to be an easy win for the Jaguars on Sunday.
Okay.
Just going to run the ball like Doug Marone says. Going to run it.
Run it.
Make sure Blake Bortles doesn't mess it up. So just hand the ball off to the three running backs, Leonard Fournette, Sheldon, and Rick T.Y. Yeldon, and Chris Ivory. So just run the ball. Doug Marone's already said it through the course of the season. If he could run the ball every play, he'd run the ball every play.
And it's supposed to be good weather down there on Sunday. I think sunny, mid-50s, so it should be great weather for that playoff game in Jacksonville on Sunday.
The sad thing is they're moving in. They're coming in with a two-game losing streak, so that's what concerns you.
Yeah.
They had a chance to knock Tennessee out. They didn't knock Tennessee out. Tennessee got in, so the offense has struggled the last 2 weekends, so they got to find a way to create some offense. But defensively, they're awfully good. They got 4 Pro Bowlers on that defensive side of football, so I think the defense of Jacksonville should pretty much handle the ball game, and Jaguars find a way to win that ball game Sunday.
All right, somebody just texted in. I-95 shut down southbound at Rhett Island Bridge. I-95 shut down at southbound at Rhett Island Bridge. So out there on I-95 on the southbound lane at Rhett Island Bridge, the traffic is shut down at the moment. I don't know how long it's going to be shut down or why it's shut down, but hopefully they'll get that open on that Rhett Island Bridge Road there, I-95 heading south. And the Atlanta Falcons, they kick into action this Sunday also, right?
They got a tough matchup out in Los Angeles against Todd Gurley, who's had an MVP-type season. He's just been a beast, so they'll have their hands full with Todd Gurley. I mean, Georgia fans know how good Todd Gurley is, and he's putting on a show at the NFL level. But he's fast and strong. And
yeah. So the Falcons going out there to take on the L.A. Rams. Used to be L.A. Rams, then St. Louis Rams, now back to L.A. And so the L.A. Rams with Todd Gurley hosting the Falcons. Is that? I guess that's going to be a 4 o'clock game, 4:30 game?
It's an 8 o'clock game Saturday
8 o'clock game.
Yeah,
Saturday night?
Saturday night.
Okay,
yeah.
Saturday night.
2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. First game Saturday is 4:30. Tennessee, Kansas City, AFC. Then the Falcons play Saturday night at Los Angeles. Then Sunday at 1 is Jacksonville hosting Buffalo. Then Sunday at 4 is Carolina at New Orleans. Those are the 4 games this weekend.
Okay, so we'll have the Falcons game for you right here on 105.5 FM on Saturday night. And we'll have the Jacksonville Jaguars game for you on AM 1370 Buzz, our AM station. Fox Sports Radio, 1370 AM The Buzz.
Johnson says he can get that game on FM.
Oh, we can get it on FM. Okay, we'll have the game for you on 105.5 FM. We'll have the Jacksonville Jaguars game for you on 105.5 FM beginning at high noon on Sunday. That's great. Will garbage truck run tomorrow? Will the garbage trucks run here in Wayne County tomorrow? Well, that's going to have to be a county administrator decision there based on road conditions tomorrow, I imagine.
They won't be able to make that decision until see how bad it gets today. Like I said, this weather's going to get worse throughout today. I mean, it's just only begun. The question is how bad is it going to get, how much rain, how much sleet, how much snow, how bad the roads get. So all those decisions won't be made until tomorrow.
Right. It says I-95 South is backed up. There's at least, they know of 10 different wrecks on I-95 right now. So I-95 becoming a bumper car place out there. because a lot of people, you're riding along there, you don't see anything white on the road, okay? You don't see anything, there's no ice, you don't see it. Okay? And you're thinking, well, that's just water, that's just a puddle or something like that. So you're bopping along there, and next thing you know, your tire hits it, and you're slipping, sliding, peeping, and hiding. And so you got to be very careful out there. You've got to drive, if you've got to be out there, drive slow. No sudden movements, no hitting the brakes real hard. Ease up to stop signs and traffic lights. When you go across bridges, take your foot off the brake, not off the brake, but off the gas pedal, and just coast over it with no sudden movements. But I-95 backed up for miles southbound at the Red Island Bridge has been shut down for almost an hour. So a lot of wrecks, a lot of folks listening to us on I-95, a lot of wrecks out there on I-95 at this time. If you have any other questions or comments concerning what's going on out there with the weather or wrecks or openings or closings, or whether you're a business or no matter what you are, you can always text us. Text us right now at 912-427-3711. Text us because we're live on there. We can't answer the phone, but 912-427-3711. You can text us with questions and comments. Who right now is the favorite to be in the Super Bowl? The odds makers are picking.
Yeah, the AFC, New England's the favorite. I mean, everybody thinks Brady's going back to Super Bowl. NFC, they're picking Minnesota at the moment, but I don't think Minnesota's going to make it. I think the Falcons are getting back to Super Bowl, personally. I really do. I think the Falcons have everybody from last year's team just about. They got in with the last games that they had to get in, but as I mentioned earlier this week, there's 6 teams in the NFC playoff pictures. 5 of the teams are new from last year. The only team that was in it last year in the playoff picture was the Falcons. So, to me, the Falcons are capable of beating anybody in that bracket. So, I just think the Falcons are going to make a nice run. I think they're going to beat Los Angeles, win wherever they got to win, and get back to the Super Bowl. And I just think Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and the defense stepping up. I got the Falcons in the NFC.
Okay.
Got the Falcons and the Steelers in the Super Bowl. That's what I got.
Oh, you do, huh? Falcons and the Steelers.
The Falcons and the Steelers. Should be a great game.
And the Super Bowl's being held where this year?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minneapolis. Woo. Yeah. Man. Jeez. All right.
Justin Timberlake, the halftime entertainment, should be a great show. Love Justin Timberlake. Very entertaining. So, looking forward to the halftime entertainment.
Justin Timberlake going to be the halftime entertainment. Up under the dome up there in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's 26 minutes after 8 o'clock, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. Well, you had one city commissioner, Stanley Todd, who changed his mind about the clerk of court, but the 4 other ones decided to keep the change, right?
They kept the change, but I don't understand it. I said the mayor's not for it, city manager's not for it. I don't like it. I've said from day one I didn't like it. I'm glad Stanley Todd at least did this research and found out that everything they told him was pretty much a lie. GMA doesn't get involved in that stuff, so I don't understand why they're doing it. 50
Why
years.
would they do it then? If you got the mayor against it, you got the city manager against it, and you found out all that information was not true, then why do you make a change that has worked for Jessup for so many years?
Because, like I said, and like it's been stated, there's a personal agenda. They just don't want to tell what the personal agenda is. So, I mean, I don't like it. I think it's bad. Like I said, if they're going to change it to hire and fire the city clerk, then hire and fire everybody, not just one position. So, it makes no sense. But I was glad that Stanley Todd, after I talked to him when he made the first vote, he did check into it, and he found out basically what I told him, that these facts aren't being told. So he laid it out pretty good yesterday at the city meeting.
So he lays all those facts out there, say that everything was said was not the truth, was not verified, and they still voted for it.
They still voted for it, which tells you there's an agenda. So just have to wait, sit back, and see what the agenda is. So,
especially when you've got the city manager and mayor.
The mayor said the last time he wasn't for it, and I said he was on that committee and all that. He said point blank he's not in favor of changing the charter. So,
man, jeez.
But they changed it anyway. He was hoping that one other person would change their vote and make it a 3-3 so he could vote to keep it like it was. And that's what his vote would have been. If it would have been a 3-3 vote, the mayor gets to cast a deciding vote. He would have voted to keep it like it is. So I don't understand why they changed after 50 years, but I said I don't like it. I stated my opinion, stated my Like I said, I talked to Stanley Todd after he made the first vote. He asked a lot of questions, but he still voted to change it. I called him. I said, look, you're making a bad decision. Don't change the charter league like it is. So he did some research, called GMA, found out that everything that was told to him was pretty much a lie, and that's what he said last night. He can't validate anything. The 3 reasons they gave for changing the charter aren't validated.
And they voted to change it anyway.
If anybody else can give my reason why, please speak up. And they sat there like quiet mouse. Nobody had anything to say.
Nobody had anything to say. Nobody who voted for decided.
He basically called him out and said, look, you lied to me.
The 4 folks that voted for, did they say why they voted?
No, they didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything.
They just
Here's why we want to change. No one said why they wanted to change?
He stated the reasons. The 3 reasons they gave turned out not to be true.
No, I know that.
Nobody gave anything else. Nobody said it. No, there wasn't anything said.
There was nothing else after. Once that information was shown to be not verified.
After Stanley Todd looked at this fellow Cush and said, you basically lied to me. Nobody had anything to say. I don't know about you. If somebody called me a liar, I'd say, look, I didn't lie. Here's the reason why we're changing it.
Wow.
So,
well,
I think they made a bad mistake.
We'll see what happens with all that. There's got to be reasons why, and then sooner or later they'll come out.
It's going to be interesting to see if Ray House is right. Back to they changed the status of the clerk. He said last night they're going to have to go ahead and hire and fire the clerk. And
I thought the city attorney said, no, you don't have to do this, since of course she's already working there and she's already doing a great job. So,
but according to there's a technicality there. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it all works, because now the city commissioner's hiring and fire the city clerk. Well, they didn't hire and fire this one. So the question is she the clerk or not?
Well, was she grandfathered in? I mean, we all know Rose does a great job down there.
They haven't grandfathered in. They said one of the commissioners, Shirley and Armstrong, so they already voted to do that, and they said they were told by the attorney, no, they hadn't done that. They got to do it. So it's still up in the air. It's still a mess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I mean, you just wonder what's going on there, because you got, the city has run, pretty much on all 8 cylinders for so many years.
It's a city manager type of government. The city manager is in charge of hiring and firing people. Like I said, why would the city commissioners want to get involved in hiring and firing people? And if they are going to get involved in getting hired, then get involved in every decision. Why pick one?
I don't know. I mean, you've already got a clerk that's doing a great job. Why change things?
There's something that just isn't being. I'm telling you, there's an agenda, and eventually it'll come out. So just sit back and watch.
Just sit back and watch.
It's called politics, and you know what? So.
All right, Bob. Well, whatever you do when you get out of here, Bob, please drive carefully, okay?
I'll drive carefully.
All right. At least you got a front-wheel drive vehicle. That helps. All right. Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup. The time now is 8:30, almost 8:31. Let's check in the latest news from Fox News Radio.